Hello and welcome back to my channel. So there's a lot of talk out there, at least there has been over the last few years, about how women are exactly the same as men. They're simply socialized to be different. Women are not any weaker than men by nature. It's just that men are encouraged when they are children to engage in rough and tumble play, which builds up their musculature and bone density, and so they can be stronger when they're older. Now, we know this is all not true. If you're watching this channel anyway, you probably agree with that sentiment that that's not the case. That men and women are actually definitely different. Imagine that. But we have a video here that we're going to watch. This is a video about the woman who is referred to as the female Mike Tyson, considered the best female fighter in the entire world ever, and we'll see how she stands up against a man. Before we get started, please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure that you're still subscribed. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate everybody stopping by. You can find me over on Rumble and on Twitter, and if you're on either of those, you can find me on YouTube typically. Now let's get into this video.
Can the best female fighter defeat male fighters?
Yeah, she's the female boxer who was really the best in the world. Nobody wanted to fight Lucia Rijker. So she was sparring with guys. I mean, she was probably the best female boxer ever. And nobody knows who the hell she is.
Women fighting men.
Well, you know, I don't know why that's such a big tragedy, that nobody knows who she is. There's always been greats that nobody knew who they were. It happens to both men and women. It's not something that's exclusive to women. And obviously, we're still talking about her today, so we know something about her. She's no Ronda Rousey, but we still know who she is. Let's take a look here.
Is a very popular topic in combat sports. Years ago, media reported that Ronda Rousey could beat Floyd Mayweather in a fight.
Now, that's not true. If it was stuck to a boxing match, then only boxing, then Mayweather, of course, would win. Now, you get into jiu-jitsu and all that stuff, that changes the dynamic.
Today, there are still a lot of speculations that Amanda Nunes could beat male champions.
There's no way that she could beat male champions. Look at those stick arms.
Well, this is literally the best female fighter of all time. And she actually fought a man. Nicknamed the Lady Tyson, Lucia Rijker is a woman who conquered the world of kickboxing and boxing. During her reign across two sports, the media dubbed her as the most dangerous woman in the world. She hit so hard that in a sports science show, her punches exceeded the force of a male fighter by 200 pounds.
Alright, now this is bogus right here. So they have Lucia throwing a hook. There's a hook. Let's watch it again.
She hit so hard that in a sports science show, her punches exceeded the force of a male.
And this man here, he could be throwing, this could be a jab. I think it's a cross. But either way, it's a much weaker punch. The hook is like the most powerful punch you can throw. And this, so to say that it exceeded by 200 pounds, it's actually 210 pounds. But the fact is, it's the more powerful punch. You can put more weight behind a hook than you can. You can get more force into a hook than you can a cross. So let's continue on here.
Her punches exceeded the force of a male fighter by 200 pounds. A seasoned trainer who got hit by her and another Olympic.
That test also doesn't describe the differences in weight. Potentially, she weighs more than this man. You don't know. We don't know how much either one of these people weighs. Now, they're going to hit this trainer. Let's go ahead and rewind it slightly here. We'll see about this trainer getting hit.
By her and another Olympic male boxer said he couldn't tell the difference.
Well, the reason that he can't tell the difference is because they probably weigh about the same. I mean, look, they're about the same height. Although this man does look like he has denser muscle, so maybe he weighs more. But the fact that, I mean, he wasn't punching as hard on the dummy, and here they're throwing the same punch, they're throwing a cross, and the guy said, oh, it feels the same, basically. Well, first off, that's human sensation is not going to be as accurate as mechanics, what we can do with mechanics these days. But if they weigh the same and they both know how to punch, then it's going to feel the same. Right? That's just physics. I know how to throw my body weight behind a punch. I weigh the same as you. You know how to throw your body weight behind your punch. It's gonna feel the same.
When tested against Houston Alexander, a light heavyweight MMA fighter, Lucia hit just as hard as him. Yes, this makes her one of the hardest hitting women of all time.
There it says, look, she hits just as hard as him. So do they weigh the same? Because that would be the determining factor, really. I mean, you can't put more force behind a punch, really, than you're able to generate with your weight. there is a little bit of addition based on the fast twitch muscle fibers. So like a chimp who has a lot more fast twitch muscle fiber than a human can hit harder than a human because of that. And men have more fast twitch muscle fiber than women do, so typically men are going to be able to hit harder than women can.
Widely regarded as the greatest female boxer of all time, Lucia was undefeated in all her 54 fights with women. In kickboxing, she had 37 fights and 4 world titles. Most of her fights were won by knockout. In boxing, she had 17 fights with 2 world titles. 14 of her fights were by knockout.
Well, it sounds like she found her calling. Good for her. A lot of people don't. A lot of people go through life without finding their true calling in life. That's unfortunate.
But what happened when she fought against a man? Fight fans, welcome back to another episode of Striking Breakdowns. In this episode, we explore how the best female fighter was defeated by a male fighter. This special event...
So you heard it right there. I mean, we can end the video now. The best female fighter was defeated by a male fighter. But we're going to find out that this male fighter was just a nobody. He wasn't anything special as far as fighting is concerned.
Took place when Lucia Rijker already had 4 world titles in kickboxing. Training with the legendary Vos Gym from the Netherlands, her corner included the great Ernesto Hoost. By the time of this fight, Lucia ran out of kickboxing opponents and her trainer suggested it could be a good idea to fight a man.
Yeah, her trainer's an idiot. She's going to get herself killed. I mean, we see what Fallon Fox did to, breaking the orbital socket of a woman. And there was another fighter, too, who damaged the skull of a woman. I think there was actually a few more that they were damaging the skulls of the women they were fighting, even though they're considered women now, but they're still men, of course. But we all know that this is just a travesty that's happened in our culture where people are proclaiming that they're the opposite gender.
Her opponent was Somchai Jaidi, an amateur fighter in Australia. He had a total of 14 fights and was a local amateur champion.
Alright, so he's a local amateur champion that I've never heard of, you've never heard of, right? Of course, Australia is a long ways away from the United States and England. This guy's narrating sounds like he's from England. Who knows, he could be from anywhere. But remember, it said that Lucia had already run out of opponents. There was nobody left to fight her. She'd beaten everybody that was female.
The first round was closely contested, but Somchai landed the cleaner power shots. He even knocked Lucia's head back with a big cross. The Thai also swept Lucia multiple times, once with a teep, another with a roundhouse, and then once inside the clinch. Somchai didn't look like he had better technique, but he was clearly faster and more powerful. Lucia was also able to sweep Somchai once, and for most of the round, she was the one pressing forward with aggression. Overall,
well, you see what he said there. He didn't look like he had better technique, indicating he's not as skilled of a fighter, but he has more power. Again, fast twitch muscle fiber, thicker ligaments. Even though they might weigh the same, he could easily have thicker ligaments. Probably does have thicker ligaments and tendons, which allow him to punch harder. The musculature, I mean, other than being fast twitch, if they weigh basically the same, only the fast twitch is going to come into play, right? I mean, you can throw the same amount of weight behind a punch if you weigh the same.
Overall, Somchai covered the long range much more effectively than Lucia. This was important for him to be a sniper, allowing him to land clean shots without a response. It's obvious here that it wasn't the technique that made the difference, it was the power and speed. In the second round, it was clear that Lucia wanted to overwhelm her opponent and tried to steamroll him. She was able to put Somchai onto the ropes and start swinging. After landing several big punches, she had her opponent cornered. But that's when he started swinging back, landing a left and right hook with an uppercut that sealed the knockout. The fight was immediately called off and the trainer came in to cradle Lucia. It was a courageous showing by the best female fighter of all time. After this sanctioned exhibition fight, Lucia would go on to be trained by Freddie Roach and dominate the world of boxing. At one point, she was a superstar who received $1 million fight offer. When she retired, Lucia became a motivational speaker and a coach, at one point coaching Ronda Rousey for striking. As for her opponent Somchai, not much is known about him. Contrary to what many people speculate, Somchai was not Thailand trained. He moved from Thailand to Australia and New Zealand at a young age and learned his Muay Thai locally. What we do know is that he wasn't part of the Thailand fight circuit and would not fare well against top Muay Thai fighters. What are your thoughts about man versus woman in a sports competition? Do you think they should sanction matches between the two genders? Drop a comment below to share your thoughts. If you enjoyed this episode,
I'm going to share my thoughts right here, of course, because I got you. But no, they obviously in most cases there is no competition. Even was it Serena Williams came out and said, yeah, it's a different sport. Tennis is a different sport when you're talking about the men's version versus the woman's version. So she can't even compete at that level.
For me, tennis and men's tennis and women's tennis are completely almost two separate sports. So I'm like, if I were to play Andy Murray, I would lose 6-0, 6-0 in 5 to 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, because no, it's true. It's true. It's a completely, it's a completely different sport. The men are a lot faster, and they serve harder, they hit harder. It's just a different game. And
here we have this unknown fighter fading into obscurity after beating the best female fighter who went on to become a motivational speaker and a trainer of world-class female fighters. So there is no comparison. And I'm glad that people like me are speaking out against this and saying, look, women are different from men. They're just different. Men and women are different. There's nothing wrong with that. We each have our place in the world, place in society. Women being much more important than men because they're the ones who have the babies. We know this. But anyway, I just wanted to make a quick video about this because I saw this and I thought it was really interesting. But thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure that you find me over on the other media platforms I mentioned, and I'll see you in the next video.